Hey, I am here. I'm waving my flag in front of you. I'm ready to be your partner and to have eyes just for you. Yet, you complain about how there's no one for you that actually seems interested and that you don't know if dating in this community is even possible at this point. And if this message resonates with you, well, you might want to stay and find out why dating in the furry fandom nowadays has become increasingly difficult. Hi everyone, this is Zyly the Fox, and welcome to a brand new video. Setting the furry side of the story apart, in terms of dating, a boyfriend or a girlfriend is just a friend at the end of the day. In order for a relationship to flourish, you must set time aside for your significant other. This certainly sounds as basic mumbling and rumbling, but believe me, today, more than ever, people need to be reminded of how actual socializing looks like. Yeah. And that's just in general, because we know that in dating online, especially in our community, there's a fair share of long-distance relationships. In these types of relationships, you must acknowledge the existence of your partner at least twice a day. Morning and night is at least minimum. You should strive to voice call them at least once a day, maybe more realistically twice a week. Yet the question remains, why is it so difficult to date here, to date close to us, that we need to find someone on the other side of the world? Well, in finding a partner, it is hard to find a match that actually caters to both our needs and the other person's needs too, and that we have something in common as well. Personally speaking, in normie context, I've been asked if I could date someone outside of furry fandom, and my answer has always been pretty much the same. No. Oh boy. I find it extremely weird to date someone who wouldn't be my partner in the most delicate aspect of my life, that is to say, the furry fandom, because how can I explain to my partner that I like wearing a fox costume unironically? And on top of that, how could we share common activities in the furry fandom without actually being interested in the same thing? I mean, despite the fact that I wouldn't be as selfish as to force someone to like something they actually don't, if you know what I mean. I would personally miss one of the core aspects of dating in furry contexts. Art together, visiting together, and, well, even traveling to a convention together. Those are the little things that, in my case, would make it hard for me to build a serious relationship with someone who is outside of this bubble, who is not in the same insular group. This is something I share with many other members of this fandom. In fact, Fur Science provided some insight on the matter, and many others actually see this community as a middle ground where they feel at ease. And that is, in sum, one of the first issues with dating in this fandom. A couple seconds ago, I mentioned the fact that this fandom implies an insular group, and that is that the size of a group will always determine the success its members can potentially have, and this applies to every aspect of our social lives. Dating is one of those, and within the furry community, it's often linked with the potential drama it can bring along. Drama. Well, let me explain. Some smaller, local furry groups can deal with issues like overly aggressive individuals, interpersonal rivalries, and even friends circles that divide over personal conflicts. These are not unique to our fandom, but because of how small and tight-knit we are, they tend to echo louder here than in any other context. When everyone knows everyone, even small disagreements can feel massive. The insular nature of the furry fandom combined with this tendency for internal drama has a huge influence on how we date. It magnifies conflicts, blurs personal boundaries, limits the dating pool, and ensures that when breakups happen, they rarely stay private. You're not just splitting from a person, you're splitting from an entire circle that may overlap with your own. Just think of the following phrase: I like you, but my friends don't like you, so maybe we should keep this private. Yikes. That's something I've heard, and I have even experienced it. And that's the thing. Relationships don't just depend on how much people like each other in the furry community, they also depend on how others around you will perceive it. In smaller local fandoms, this can create a sense of social pressure. You're not just dating for yourself, you're dating under the quiet gaze of your peers, and for an immature or emotionally unstable individual, that social perception is the most important aspect to take care of in order to feel happy. The weight of what will others think sometimes becomes heavier than the relationship itself. And that's when things become toxic and dangerous for you. When relationships begin to blur, people take sides, and suddenly your relationship is no longer just yours. It becomes public property, a topic of discussion, speculation, or, well, even gossip. A solution to that is to be mature enough to tell your relationships apart and stand your flag in the ground. If you do not protect what you love, no one else will. And if you're not mature enough to risk something for love, let me tell you, you're going to hurt yourself, and most importantly, you will hurt someone else as well. In addition, the furry fandom is built on personas. It's literally what defines us. We put on masks, we create characters, and we express sides of ourselves that sometimes we don't show to anyone else. But that same magic that lets us be free also comes with a hidden cost. Because sometimes we start falling in love with the idea of a person rather than who they actually are. And that's what the parasocial aspect of this fandom comes in as one of the most common issues in our community. When you only know someone through videos online, social media posts, or how they act at a convention or a fan meet, you're not seeing their full reality. You're seeing what they chose to show you. That's not necessarily bad. We all curate how we present ourselves online, but when emotions get involved, that curated image can easily become idealized. We start thinking, wow, he's so kind, or he's the perfect partner, based on filtered glimpses that might not tell the whole story. For instance, getting to know someone who publicly behaves as a party animal, or the type of guy who says everyone must be friends with each other only, might be a red flag. And hey, I'm not trying to be a party pooper here, but we all need our reality check eventually. Getting closer to someone who acts like that, but then is immature to face the real life issues, well, that will eventually break you. When that illusion breaks, when you realize that the person behind the angelical image you had also has flaws, it can feel devastating. But the truth is, that's not their fault. That's the result of a one-sided connection, one that grows stronger in your imagination than in real life. I often ask myself, is this tendency to idealize others a sign of selfishness or immaturity? Maybe it's a bit of both. Sometimes we love how someone makes us feel rather than who they actually are. And when that feeling fades, we generally don't know what to do with the real person left behind, or with how we feel towards ourselves. Was it my fault? Was it that I am not too good for their lifestyle? Or was it that neither of us wasn't really prepared for what happened? Those questions are clear accountability of what I believe is called puppy love. Sometimes this term could be given some accountability, but then again, this naive idea of love makes it impossible to construct something serious. Mostly in this community, because of immaturity, sometimes boundaries are not respected. We are too close to each other. Thus, fandom's exclusiveness and proximity with one another makes it a little complicated to have things private. And that's when the last part of the story really hits home. This fandom fosters the creation of a shared circle where most of our relationships move and go by. In this scenario, it's very likely that you know me, I know you, and it's very likely that you might also know my ex, and because of that, I maybe know yours, and maybe, just maybe, we both know someone we have been with in the past. Get what I mean? Oh boy, I hope you get what I mean. Not the bees and birds talk again. Oh. One of my exes once told me, it's impossible to find someone to date in this fandom whom someone you know hasn't already been with. At the time, I laughed it off. I thought it was just drama. But now I get it. This fandom is deeply connected. It's not that everyone's dating everyone, but that our circles are small enough that our pasts overlap. It's like the Venn diagram, if you know what I mean. And when that happens, things can get complicated. You start worrying about who's friends with who, what people might say, or whether you'll bump into someone you're trying to move on from at the next fur meet. Sometimes even when nothing bad happened, it just feels uncomfortable. The truth is, when a community is this close-knit, it's really easy for personal boundaries to blur. People talk, stories spread as I said before, and suddenly your private life becomes a group conversation material. That's why setting boundaries matter, not just with others, but with yourself. Because if you're not mature enough to say no, to draw that line when something doesn't feel right, you'll eventually get hurt, or you'll hurt someone else without meaning to. That's part of the reason why, for me, dating within the fandom is so difficult. Not because love isn't real, but also because it takes a lot of maturity to keep love healthy in a world where everyone knows everyone, and so many feel more open to the idea of not being judged for their sexual openness. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that, but it's one of the characteristics that describe our community in the eyes of the world. So, when people ask me, why is it so hard to find love in the furry fandom? I think about all this. It's not that love can't happen here. It absolutely can. I've seen it happen, I've felt it, I also have had it. But it takes something rare, the kind of maturity that isn't built on fantasy or comfort, but in honesty. Love in the furry fandom isn't a fairy tale. It's more like trying to build a little bit of truth inside a world of imagination, and that's beautiful, but also incredibly hard. In the end, the best love story in this fandom will always be the one where you learn to love yourself first, and I don't want to be like narcissistic or just a person who ignores the surroundings. I just want to share this message that if you can't put yourself first, no one will do it for you. And you cannot love others if you don't love yourself first, if you know what I mean. In conclusion, if you liked today's video, please let me know in the comments the part that made you think a little bit more. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and if you enjoyed it, consider sharing it with a friend. Maybe love hasn't arrived yet, but you know someone who's interested in how love relationships work in this fandom. So yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take good care of yourselves, everyone. Yeah.